All right, what up, everybody? It's Kyle Figley. We're on CBR.com. We're at Comic-Con 2018. I'm here with Mr. Scott Snyder. Scott, great to see you as always. I wanted to start talking today a little bit about Justice League and like Justice League, not thematically, conceptually, but in terms of like the storytelling style and the feel of the book, because I feel like you have worked overtime to cram as much stuff as you can into each issue, and like many different threads all kind of spinning and going together. It's a different kind of book than I think we've seen from you. Was that just the team aspect of it, or why did you want to approach it that way?
No, that's a great question, and thanks for having me again. It's great to see. We go way back at this point. I was saying I've like this is my 10th San Diego, and I always love talking to you guys. So thank you. But no, it was really important to me to set a certain kind of tone, and I felt coming out of Metal was sort of me and Greg having all the toys and doing an event. So it was sort of nonstop punishing guitar riffs, just, crazy stuff. And we only had 6 issues of our own stuff together there. So it was sort of one of those series where you had to just put everything in as much as you could, and it felt right for the tone. Justice League, to me, I wanted to feel more magisterial, have a little bit more grandeur, a little bit more cosmic scope, a little bit slower, but at the same time, for it to feel important to me, the thing that, and this is not a knock on the Justice Leagues before, because people have done some great stuff in the last 10 years, but I think maybe what was missing for me a little bit was the connectivity and the sense of purpose within the DCU itself, reflecting the stories happening in other books and generating story for other books. So with this first arc in particular, where the Legion of Doom comes in and the Hall of Justice and the Hall of Doom are almost opposing architectures, and the symbols are opposing sides of two philosophies, and I wanted it to feel almost like every character, every idea is sort of there in the first arc, so you can see the scope, you can see the energy, you can see the bombast and the sense of kind of purpose of this whole thing, and it feels connected to the rest of the DCU because the stuff it's spinning out, the invisible spectrum and the still force, you see those in Flash, you'll see it in some Green Lantern stuff. We want you to feel like this book is the heart and soul of the DCU, not because it's the most important, but that's what it's supposed to be. It should be, and it's why we use the Hall of Justice. Whereas Grant used the Watchtower, and his goal was to make these characters, because there hadn't been a Justice League of America, feel larger than life. My goal is they have felt larger than life for a long time. I wanted them to feel like you can go into the Hall of Justice and see the trophy room, and you might catch a glimpse of Swamp Thing through a window somewhere. I wanted it to feel inclusive and connective. So I hope that makes sense. Because
when you're reading the book, one of the things is you have your core cast, but anytime they're in action, plastic bands in the background, Swamp Thing's popping up or whatever. And so it's like the Justice League really is this bigger organization rather than just here's the membership, but you have your focal point too.
Yeah, and it's a book that's really personal to me, honestly. Again, not to get too nostalgic, but being here as long as I have, Justice League was the book I wanted to write since I was a kid. Batman will always be my favorite character, but Justice League was sort of the golden ring, because Super Friends and then the Justice League animated stuff, to me, was the best. Those interpretations of the entire DCU as this one connective, aspirational, crazy, lunatic, surprising storytelling engine. Those were so perfect and visionary in that way. I felt like Justice League would be that. And for me to be able to do it, I don't know. I don't know how much more I have in me in a certain way with big superhero stuff. This culminates, and the thing I would say to you, anyone watching, this is one giant story from Metal to No Justice to Justice League, and it goes in about a year from now. You'll start to see the pieces all come together in a way that's going to really blow up into big stuff again. But I want you to feel when you pick it up that it has purpose. It has, it's sort of dealing with things that are personal to me. I want these characters right now. What it's about, then I'll stop going down rabbit holes. But what it's about for me is, at this moment, the source wall breaks in Metal. It's like the universe is slowly bleeding to death suddenly. Yeah. And it was supposed to live a lot longer, and it's not. And the heroes realize, when this happens, the universe, planets are going to start spinning out of it. Universes from the multiverse are going to start going, and soon that becomes part of the main story in a big way. And if they don't fix it, it will wind up getting recycled in this void. And the Legion of Doom is like, the Justice League is like, well, we have to do these certain things. They find this design in the secret map, and they're like, if we can do these things, we can make the multiverse this what it's supposed to be and get it where it needs to be. And the Legion of Doom is like, no, we're going to turn it into the weapon it's always supposed to be. It's always meant to be, and get what's ours and kill what's ever on the other side. And for me, it really represents these two philosophies. If justice is sort of, this belief that we're better than our biology, we're better than our fate. The natural world does not have any justice. It doesn't reward right, and it doesn't punish wrong. We impose that to be, we impose that dream upon ourselves and upon the world to be better. That's why the symbol itself is these lines reaching above the semicircle. It's meant to be reach higher than what you are. And Doom is the opposite. It's the semicircle, the little triangle and lines going down, which says, Luthor says, our biology, our DNA, our fate, which Doom meant in its original form meant fate. It didn't have menacing,
token a lot.
Yeah, a connotation. Luthor believes, no, embrace it. Let's be predators. Let's be dark. Let's be who we are. Be your best self. Embrace your inner villain. And, I think it's creating a moment in time when everybody is sort of divisive and going on one way or another, and you don't know which side you're on. I want people to be like, are we Doom or are we Justice?
I wanted to talk about the Batman Who Laughs, and one of the reasons is because so much what you're talking about now, both in terms of, okay, I've been at DC this long, and almost everything you write kind of ends up snowballing and seeming to culminate. When you're reading Justice League, you're seeing references to all the books you've done over those years or whatever. But it's got to be crazy because it's Jock, and not until I heard it did I think, wait a minute. Have they not done a major thing since Detective when it was Dick and everything else? And it's like, this is the return. Yeah,
we did a couple issues in All Star, which I love those issues. But no, I mean, we've been working on Witches, and we have a big sort of 70-page story called The Bad Egg coming out at Halloween from that.
Oh yeah.
But this was something that was really in the works for a while, where I didn't get to use the Batman Who Laughs very much in Metal, and the character, thanks to everybody out there, has become a bit of a breakout hit. There's the cosplay and all this stuff. So DC said, if you want to do it, do it. And for me, this story that we're building on Justice League, the beginning of the Batman Who Laughs actually, spoiler, happens in Justice League. You'll see the beginning of that story, and then the story will be relatively standalone, but it's in continuity, and in what it sets up rolls forward through the DCU in a really evil way. So what it's about the Batman Who Laughs still being here and deciding he's going after something in Gotham. And he's brought a new Dark Knight with him, which is one of the ones I've been wanting to use for a long time, because these characters are all Batman's worst nightmares about himself, and I believe very strongly in his code about non-lethal force. And I've never broken that with him, and our version of him, and I believe one of his worst nightmares would be what happens when I go down that path. And this Batman is sort of like the Punisher Batman. He comes and he's this huge arsenal, and he's the deadliest shot in the world. He's just the deadliest Dark Knight, because Punisher is awesome, but Punisher's also kind of broke, a lot of the time. He's like in a van and whatever. Batman Who Laughs is Bruce Wayne, and he has billions of dollars, so he doesn't even need a gun to kill you. He might have joints in the pipes of your walls made by an apartment building made by Wayne Enterprises, and he could just push a button and you'll die without even knowing what happened. So he's literally the deadliest man alive, and he's being brought here as the henchman of the Batman Who Laughs. So it's a really dark and fun series where Bruce Waynes start popping up dead, different ages Bruce Waynes, and Bruce has to autopsy himself and kind of figure out what happened. And I'm really excited. Joker's in it, Arkham's in it. This is going back to my horror roots, to be able to do something with Jock, who did Black Mirror and that kind of, and Witches, so we have our horror groove. Doing something that's easily the darkest, fun but dark investigation of Batman that I've been able to do. So, and it sort of, again, it stands on its own the way Metal did and that stuff, and an arc of Justice League might, arc by arc, but it builds to other stuff we're going to be doing in Justice League Dark especially, but also in Odyssey. So it's been fun, man. I've never been in this role where, I get to be with my friends, with Josh Williamson and James Tynan and Rob Venditti and with Joel Jones and Brian Hill, be able to build together and be a little bit of someone who gets to lay down some architecture for stuff and watch a story grow through all of these books in such interesting ways, where they take pieces, they have their own stories, but they take pieces and then evolve them. And what it's all going to culminate to, I think, in the way that we're pulling it forward, I really want readers to feel rewarded. I want them to feel everything we're doing matters, every little mystery we're setting up in Justice League, and they're a crazy lot. But I'm at issue 13 right now, and issues 12, 13, 14, those issues explain all the stuff that you're wondering about, and then we go even crazier past that. So I just want you to feel like it is a rolling engine of fun and mystery and wonder, and each thing will pay off as we go. So.
And you mentioned Black Mirror a minute ago, and I remember when that book was coming out, it was like, hey, Scott, why are all these birds in the background of this thing? And it was like, I don't know, you know. Is that's the thing where the Matt Who Laughs is going to be there, but it's going to be like, okay, look out for something.
Oh yeah, Jock, we're great. He's so great about that, you know, having a design element and those things that wind up coming back. So, yeah, the way that we sort of wanted to set a tone there, we'll be setting a tone here. He has an idea for something like that. I won't give it away, but like a sort of Easter egg almost that grows as a kind of tonal thing as we go. So, I'm really thrilled. I mean, I feel really lucky to be able to do it with him. And then we're gonna go back and finish Arc 2 for Witches, and so it's a dream, man. I get to go to work with some of my closest friends, and the keys to the car are completely available all of a sudden, where, you know, Batman was amazing and it was the ride of my life, and Metal was, you know, insane, but now I have a good long runway. I have a 2-year plan on Justice League up to about issue 45 to 50, where it all kind of, you know, breaks loose and goes completely crazy. And having all these pieces from, you know, Adam Strange to Firestorm to, you know, Hawkgirl and Swamp Thing, and, you know, the Starman comes into it soon, and all this kind of crazy stuff is just, you know, we go to the original, we find the Martian Keeper of Secrets, and it's just one thing after another. It's all available. There's nothing that DC was like, no. You know, there are things that other people are doing, like Jeff's bringing in Shazam in such a great way, and all that stuff. So there's certain things that are in different wheelhouses, but having those keys where your parents give you the keys to the car, and they're like, go anywhere, you know, do anything, and it's just such a joy and an honor, and I'm very grateful to everybody for being so supportive and selling out the book and showing such enthusiasm for it. I promise, like, this, we are taking this extremely seriously and giving it all we have. This is not like, hey, I'm going to do Justice League for a little while. This is like, we are in a room together planning what DC is going to do for 2 years on the books that involve, you know, on our books. You know, Tom's a great friend as well. Huge congrats to him with everything with Batman. That has, the Batman Who Laughs has effects there. What he's doing affects Justice League. It's just it's honestly the most fun I've ever had at DC. Was the last years from Metal to now. It's just not only the creative freedom they're giving us, but the people there. You know, it's just such a fun room. It really is, and I love doing it. So it's a blast. You know.
Well, the last thing we have to ask, Scott, because you perked my ears, because I'm a Starman nut because of the James Robinson series. And did you say Will Payton or?
No. Well, yeah, we're gonna wind up. Yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna bring back. I don't want to give away too much because there's plans for different versions of Starman in different places, like what the JSA stuff is going to be going on with Ted Knight in some ways, and I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
But
all right.
yeah.
Well,
so
good.
I will just say that, yeah, in Justice League 7, you will start to see that story begin to unfold, and he becomes a player along with Starro again. Starro, they find a tiny piece of him and put him in a jar, and then they always insult him by calling him Jarro, but he's like there, and he's always like, you want to open this jar. You want to, bro. I just love him. So Batman eventually does open the jar, and I think it's issue 13, so it's fun.
Well, Scott, thanks for stopping by. Have a great rest of the show, my man.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
And we'll have more on CBR.com from Comic-Con 2018 later on, so check it out.